Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to the Tony and Dakota podcast. Today, we got somebody's first time being a podcast guest.
This is Cecilia Espinoza. She is the managing broker at Scheerer McCulloch. Did I say that correct?
Scheerer McCulloch, yep.
Okay. And she has her own real estate team, too, the Espinoza Real Estate Team. Not only does she do the realtor side, but she also helps investors. She also invests in some property herself. Her husband's in real estate as well. She's been very helpful to us, helping us break into the Latino community. She's found us some contractors. Don't go to her and take our contractors. This is Cecilia Espinoza.
Thanks
Hi.
for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me, guys.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be here.
So what got me excited about having you on, Cecilia, is that I was looking through John Good's Real Estate Mastermind, and you were on the list of people talking about your story, like
Yes.
your success story. And I was like, well, I know that Dakota loves Cecilia, loves doing business with her, and I've seen you around a lot, but I've never learned your story. So I felt like I was out of the loop. I was like, oh man, I know Cecilia. I know that she's like a really cool person. I just have no idea what her story is. And one of the things we talk about on this podcast is that everybody is just a kid from somewhere, like you grew up somewhere.
Yeah.
How did you get, like, what was it like for you growing up? How did you grow up and how did you get to where you are now?
Well, it is a really long story, but I grew up in a tiny town. It's called Saguayo in Michoacan in Mexico. I have a really nice, close family. Like we are all, even if I live really far from all of them, we're really close. We're always in contact. We're always texting, FaceTiming all the time. So my kids are really close to their grandpas and their uncles, aunts. So that's really cool. My dad is a doctor. My brother is also a doctor. My sister is an accountant, and she's still studying. She's older than me, but still studying all the time, trying to be better. And so, yeah, basically it. After I grew up in Saguayo, but when I turned 18, we don't have college. Well, we didn't have a college in town, so I needed to move to Guadalajara, tequila, mariachis, the big city. I moved to Guadalajara to study design. I studied design there for 5 years. I have my bachelor's degree in design. After that, I also study a master's degree in manufacturing systems. So I like to study. I like to learn. Everybody in my house, I guess. And after that, I got married, and I've moved here to Fort Wayne, Indiana. That brought me here. When I moved here, it was with the idea that a lot of us have, like, it's just gonna be for 1-2 years, and that's it. For my older kid to improve his English and go back. To teach him about different cultures, different religions, because in Mexico, we're all almost the same. You know, we have almost everybody has the same religion. The culture is like really tight. So I wanted to show my kid, my older son, like a little bit more of the world. But look at me here after almost 11 years.
Wow.
And not planning on moving back. I love Fort Wayne, Indiana. I love our community here, the Hispanic community here. We still have the same values about family. Like, it's a really strong value for us. And since a lot of us don't have family here, we adopted each other. So that's cool.
And you said when you moved to Fort Wayne, it was because of your husband. Is he an American citizen, or did you end up getting American citizenship?
Well, we came because he received an offer, a job offer. Now he is my kid's dad. We're not together anymore, but that's how I came here, and with a job offer also. So I started working at El Paraíso supermarket. It's a Mexican supermarket here in town. I was helping them to, it was more like to implement a system where they had like the warehouse, because they have different convenience stores. And well, I was trying to implement that kind of system for them. So I started there. Then I had another baby, and my second child got diabetes. So I needed to quit because I needed to take care of my baby. But I cannot be a stay-home mom. I just cannot. So he was missing his daycare, and I miss doing something. So I started working as a preschool teacher in his preschool. So I could take care of him at the same time that I was being productive and doing something, you know. I was there for 3 years. And when my little one was ready for kindergarten, I was like, now what? You know, now what am I going to do? I don't know what am I going to do. We bought a house in that time, and I liked it. So I asked the one who was my agent, that was Liliana Caro. She was really nice to me. And I asked her, like, hey, do you need an assistant? Do you need someone to help you? I'm available. She's like, why don't you get your license? I think you have the skills. So it's like, yeah, you know, why not? And that's it.
Wow. So you said you're a lifelong learner. A lot of people, you know, go to school. They feel like, all right, I got my education. Now I don't need to learn anymore. What are you continuing to learn nowadays? Because obviously you got interior design, you're in real estate. Or is there something that like now you're focused on continuing to learn now?
Yeah, it has been more like a personal growth, more like a mindset, more like a personal development. How to be better with people, how to be better for people, how to be a better mom, I have been trying just to prepare my brain, my mind, myself to be a better person more than just because you can learn about different skills. You can develop different skills, but I think if you don't have the right mindset, it doesn't worth it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Are you on the PSI?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll say that'll be perfect for what you're learning. That's the
seminar.
Oh, yes. I like, what are you talking about? Oh, yes, of course.
Good.
Of course I am.
I'll say, yeah, that'll be up your alley then. So what's the biggest thing that you've learned so far that like you think would be helpful for other people, like in your self-development journey?
Work hard. Always do the right thing. If you do the right thing, you're going to be able to sleep peacefully at night, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is well, how I try to see things is like everything is a circle. If you do good for others, you're going to receive the same and again and again. So that's what I try to be.
Mm-hmm. Let's unpack that, because I hear a lot of people say work hard, and I always like to actually clearly define that. So when you say work hard, like, can you define that? What do you mean?
Working hard. Well, I have a routine every single day. The people in my team, they check my alarms, mm-hmm. and they laugh at them because I have an alarm for everything I do. I do the same every single day, the same routine during the morning to be able to improve my business, to help my people, and to be there for them. So I think consistency is part of working hard. Sometimes you just wake up and you don't feel like doing anything. You just want to lay down. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a boss. We don't have a schedule. So if you are not consistent on what you do, you can lose it really fast, and there's not going to be more business for you because you're not going to be there for your clients, for your people.
Yep. Yeah, I was just listening to a podcast this morning, actually, with Ed Milet. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No.
But he's one of my favorite, like, self-development guys. I listen to him a lot. But he talks a lot about how discipline, which is what you're basically talking about, routine is, like, kind of discipline. A lot of people think that the alarms would be like, man, that's going to get me tired. That's going to be like, I'm going to have to do all this stuff every day. But then, like, realistically, what that does is it actually makes you to where you have more energy because you're not thinking about, okay, what do I got to do? What am I going to do here? You already know what you're going to do.
It's
you know,
easier.
you know exactly what you're going to do. And now it's just autopilot mode. And then so the biggest question that I guess we have then is like, I think the execution is almost the easy part. A lot of people think it's the more difficult part, but what I think is the difficult part is how do you make your routine? And this all kind of goes in together with, we started this by talking about hard work. But then if you just continue to work hard and then you're working hard to end up over here and you really wanted to end up over here and you never course corrected, then I think that people can get in the habit of that. They work hard at something that isn't even leading them to where they want to go. So also, same thing with routine. They just get in the routine and they just get in autopilot mode. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over.
Pulling data lists like vacant houses, mortgage foreclosures, and tax delinquent properties is important to direct-to-seller marketing.
Batch Leads is the main platform where we store our sellers' data and skip trace owners for their phone numbers, emails, and addresses.
On other platforms, you end up having to pay twice for the same contact if you've already skip traced it. My favorite thing about Batch Leads is that if you skip traced a contact once, you never have to pay for that contact again.
Batch Leads has SMS texting campaigns, direct mail marketing, and Driving for Dollars app integrated in a simple-to-use interface.
Click the link below and try Batch Leads today.
So how do you draw up, make your routine, create where you want to go, and then set your routine? Okay, here's my alarms, here's why I'm doing it. What's that process look like for you?
Okay, well, it hasn't been easy, but the main thing for me was because I am a full-time mom, not just as a full-time realtor, and trying to have that, I don't know, you need to put your values in place, like what is more important. And for me, it's my family, of course, my kids. They are my why, they are my everything. I do everything for them. So having that in mind is just okay, I work around them. So what are their schedules, what are my schedules, and try to combine them. And so at the beginning of the year, we do what are our goals as a family, what are our goals as an individuals in our house, even the kids. And keeping that in mind is okay, and my professional goals are this. And based on that, I did my routine. And I needed to take a look on the numbers for the past years, how many houses we have been selling, how many more we want to sell this year, and how we're going to do it. So I have all of that kind of organized, and I know how many appointments I need to have a week to be able to get to the numbers I want to have at the end of the year. So that makes, as you said, the routine so much easier because I already know. And you need to have people around you to keep you accountable. I have a team that is amazing. I have another agent that is always pushing me. Olvin, that's you. I also have an assistant that she is like a mom to me. Well, not that older, but she behaves like that. She's always on top of everything. It's like, Cecilia, you haven't had your you have had these number of appointments this week. What's going on? Keep working hard. We haven't met the goal for this week. So we have goals for the week. We have goals for the month. So that's the way. So keeping people around you to help you to grow is really important, to keep you accountable, to do what you need to do. Having a why, that is really important because it's not about giving my family better quality of life. It's not about money. It's about teaching them how it should be, what they want to be. And I want them to look at me as a role model, for example. That is really important for me, that they can talk about their mom and they can feel proud.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
I love it. I've noticed that business and family there's a lot of similarities.
So you went from not making very much money at the supermarket, probably, to not making very much money as a
to making
preschool
less money.
teacher. Yeah, making less money as a preschool teacher. And so, what was your first real estate deal like? How did you kind of break into that? And then once you broke into it, how did you know, this is it? This is the thing that I should be committed to. When did you know? How did you know? What did your first deal look like?
Well, 96% of my deals have been with my Hispanic community, and I love that. So the first deals I had, I could see that I was doing something else other than working and money. I was helping people. I was really impacting into people's life, into people's dreams. Now, I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it is. It is.
Yeah.
When you get, I heard a story of a family. It was not at the beginning, but it was really impacting for me. That they told me, like, we came to the U.S. with nothing, not a penny. We came looking for a better life because in our country, we were struggling a lot, not just financially, crime, and it was insecurity. It was awful. So we just literally crossed the border looking for a dream. And they bought a $300,000 house, and
Wow.
she was literally crying.
Wow.
It's like, this is the dream.
Yeah.
This is what I want for my kids, for my family. Being part of that's why I'm like, this is my place. Because with the difference in language, you need to be trustable. They need to know that what you are saying is what they are signing. Mm-hmm. They need to know that they can count on you. They need to know that you are on their side looking for the best interest
For both.
for them.
Yeah.
That you're not just want to rip them off, that you don't want just the commission, that you really want to help.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of, we have great agents in Fort Wayne. Don't get me wrong, but there are some that they're really just looking to get the commission. And so
we know.
there's why I knew that this is what I want to do. This is where I want to stay.
Yeah, we've met a couple people that obviously care more about the commission than the client. And we've seen examples of that, and I'm like, man, they did some shady stuff, in my opinion. They did some unethical things. But yeah, finding somebody who actually like cares and is that translator is important because, like, we've worked with people. We just had one on Felician Street that it's very difficult. So then Luis is translating. Luis is one of our acquisitions guys, and I'm like, does she even understand what you're saying, bro? Do I need to get Cecilia in here? Because I want to make sure that she understands exactly what's happening and stuff. Because I'm the same way of like, I want to be so clear that you know exactly what you're signing. Like, I want that to be clear. I never want somebody to be like, oh man, like this wasn't what we agreed to or anything like that. And that's so important to have that translator, but also you have to have knowledge in order to do that, Yeah. So, that's awesome that you're able to do that. And I was just thinking about the people who do come to this country. There's a lot of thoughts and opinions about illegal immigrants and stuff like that. And I used to kind of be upset about it too. And then I've now met some of the people, and it's not like they're just like, I still think that, you should do it as legal as you can. But at the same time, if you have kids and there's people trying to kill your kids and the only thing that you can do is to save them would be to leave, I would leave. I'm going to do whatever I can to protect. And that is the situation that some of these people are in. There's a guy that you brought to us, Carlos, and he told me some stories about people threatening to take his kids and stuff. And I'm like, man, for me, I would do whatever it takes. I don't care about anything. So I don't think that everybody really realizes what's happening in their countries or anything like that and what they're getting away from. And again, the dreams that you are providing, man, the way that some of them live to now live in a $300,000 house that you helped them get, that's crazy.
And with my community, with the Hispanic community, is a little bit more challenging sometimes because it's not just the language, it's the culture. And not just that, because we don't have the knowledge. When I came to this country, I already had a master's degree, okay? But the system is completely different. Yep. I didn't know anything about credit scores. I didn't know anything about how to get a mortgage loan, how to, like, I was just in a new system that I needed to learn about. So that's what I try. I try to educate my community. I try to show them what's the way to do it, to show them how to be financially smart, to get to the point where they want to be. So that has been a long process because sometimes someone comes to me and says, like, Ceci, you know, I really want to buy a house. Okay, do you have a credit score? No. Okay, we need to start from there.
Yep.
How do you get paid? Cash. We need to change that also. So we start from the very bottom. Yep. Sometimes the process takes a year and a half, and we're there with them, helping them to get a credit card, how to use their credit cards, how to handle their bank accounts, how to do everything. And it's a longer process than just like, oh, yes, go with my friend. He's a lender. He's going to help you.
Yeah.
No, because if you don't know, again, with my community, sometimes they need different products, different kind of loans. So I cannot just send them to my friend. No, it's like, okay, tell me about you, tell me your story, and now I know what kind of advice I can give you. I know where to send you. I know which one is going to be able to help us. I know where to send them to start building their credit. I know where to send them to fix their credit. I know, but that it is a little bit more hard work.
Have you been thinking about investing in real estate?
It's not like what you see on HGTV.
We created a course to show you how to really invest and create a profitable flipping and wholesaling business.
We show you where to find the money, how to find the deals, and how to negotiate the deals.
We go over live sales calls, including negotiations, scripts, role-playing, and so much more.
Everything that you need to know to flip houses is in this course. And if there's a video that we didn't make that you want, we'll make it for you.
This knowledge has made us well over $1 million, and it's available right now for $997. Click the link below.
Buy the course.
Yeah. Yeah, you also have to know about, like, what their status is too, like how long they're here for, if it's a work visa, if they're going to get that. Are you familiar with how to help people get citizenship too?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of, but it's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. But yes, sometimes I have referred them to, like, okay, tell me more. Tell me, like an attorney is like, okay, tell me more. Tell me your story. I'm like a priest, so don't worry. Just keep going. And you hear really cool stories of different families.
Do you have have you ever thought about, so this is something that I did talk to Gerardo about. He was planning on making one, was like a course or like something like that, where it's like, because you have the same conversation a lot probably. And so then you could just be like, hey, here's a course, it's $100, and then instead of you just saying the same thing every single time, you're still providing them a service where it's just like, okay, here's how you build credit, here's how you do this, here's how you do this, and then this is a brief overview. Now let's have a conversation, and then they'll be more educated and easier to understand what you're saying. Have you ever thought about that?
That is a service. That is a service that we do for free.
Yeah.
And we have done it with the YMCA.
Nice.
And yeah, the thing is, of course, it's a really delicate topic to talk about. So a lot of people doesn't want to be seen with a lot of people that is struggling about the same. So they prefer to keep it private. So it's not that easy. Not a lot of people show when we do that because it's too personal.
Yeah.
It's like even between Hispanics, it's like, you're legal or not? You don't ask that, you know? You don't ask that. You never ask it. I need to.
Oh, you guys don't even ask that with each other?
No.
Oh, okay.
I need to because if I want to help them, I need to know what
their situation.
Their situation is. But it's not normal to go around asking them
I asked
The legal
because,
situation is like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Dakota was talking about like a video course, like you go online and you watch videos. So instead of, because something that we had, not necessarily a problem, but just consistently noticed is that everybody would be like, hey, I want to pick your guys' brain. Can I take you out to lunch? And then we would spend an hour with them, but I need 9.5 hours to teach you everything I know. And half of the lunch is building rapport, talking about work, family, that sort of thing. So it's like 30 minutes with them, and then they have so many more questions that we couldn't answer. And so that's why we built our course. That'd be a good place to put the course. and so that's why we created the course, so that we don't have to continually be like, okay, this is how you build your credit. It's like, hey, I need you to watch this video, and then if you have questions, we'll discuss it afterwards. Or like, this is the homework, like you got your master's, you just need them to get their, bachelor's and how to build your credit and buy a house 101,
Yeah. Well, apparently you don't understand Spanish, because if you go to my Facebook page, I have some videos.
Oh,
good.
see, there we go.
Good.
But they're in Spanish.
Yep.
So, yep.
Good. That's perfect. Yeah. Just do you send them to that then?
It is. We talk about mortgage loans, how to build credit, how to. As I was saying, we try to educate. You see my alarm.
There it is.
I told you. I have alarms for everything.
She's like, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah. So we do that. We do that with the different. For example, Moises Uribe, he is my lender.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, and he's also bilingual, and he's a real advocate to help our community also.
Yep.
So I have invited him to talk about mortgage loans and how to get there as better as possible. Cynthia Villanueva, she's in Partners First. She helped me with building credit. So it's another person that has been in my videos to talk about credit score, because I'm not the expert. So I try to invite the expert to talk about the topic.
That's
so
awesome.
I know, but they are the experts. So I try to show our community the people that can help them, that have the same culture, the same language, and they can trust.
Mm-hmm. Man, we need to start a Hispanic RIA. That'd be so cool, because then Ed Aravello and stuff like that, he could be running that one, because there is people like Carlos and stuff that was asking me if they had one, and I'm like, man, that'd be cool, just combine them. That'd be really cool, because I think that education is obviously important, and helping people to accomplish their goals, like you said. It's like a lifelong thing for us, it's just very fulfilling to help people hit their dreams and goals. I don't think you ever get tired of that, know. It's like you will be able to do that for the rest of your life, and you now feel fulfilled because you're able to help other people achieve their dreams. So yeah, that's pretty cool. How would you say, you talked a lot about accountability in your business. Do you have any sort of accountability in your family of let's say, hey, I got you scheduled, but then, something came up and then I didn't go out to date night, or I didn't hang out with my kids, or I didn't go to games. Do you have any sort of accountability at all, set in place with them?
Oh, yes. Yes, a lot. Well, my older one is 17. Mm-hmm. So he already knows how this goes. He understands a little bit better. The other two are little. And my 17 years old, he's always saying oh gosh, I have the Hispanic mom. Yes, I have the Mexican mom. Why? Why? Because I'm always on top of him. And I'm like, hey, you need to do this, remember. You need to do that, remember. I am the one keeping them accountable. Mm-hmm. And he is also with me. You said you were going to go to my game. So I make everything around to be there for his game, of course.
That's awesome.
And also, my family in Mexico, my dad has been, and I think will be forever, I always want to reach his level. He's so smart. He's so talented. He's so, and so I wanna be like that someday.
You look up to him? That's awesome.
Yes, a lot. My mom is like the Mexican mom, caring, loving, keeping the family is the glue of the family, keeping the family together. You haven't talked to your brother. You haven't talked to your sister. Hey, what's going on? Are you too busy for your family? Yeah. So I was with them this weekend, because I went to see my dad because he doesn't want to travel all the way here anymore. So I went to see him for the weekend because we're kind of busy right now here. And just having like lunch and dinner with them, that is fulfilling. It's like, okay, now my battery is charged again. I can keep going. So that's really cool.
That's awesome.
So it looks like with some of the companies that you formed and some of the relationships that you formed, that you've had partnerships with people, like you talked about Moses. And so when it comes to partnerships, how do you know if you can trust someone? And then how do you pick your partnerships? When do you decide that it's time to do one?
I think it's more like you try. I always trust people until you cannot. You know? I think that you cannot just say like, oh, you look like you're not trustable. Like you cannot judge like that. So I try to give us an opportunity, because it's not give them, it's give us an opportunity. And if it works and it keeps working, then I can refer them like, hey, I know he's good, I know he's real, I know he's trustable. But it's experience, I think. Nothing else. For example, with Moises, he can tell you that at the beginning I didn't even like him. I was like, oh no, screw you. Like, no, you didn't take my calls like for 3-4 times that I tried and nothing. So like, no, I think you think you're too valuable for me. It's like, no. And one day he invited me to get lunch. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. And we talked like, okay, I'm going to give you like one opportunity. And that's it. If not, I'm not working with you. I'm sorry. If you cannot take my clients' phone calls, like, I'm not going to work with you. And that was 2 years ago. And we still work together a lot. Actually, he's my partner in another company that we have, remodeling houses. We bought one house in West Central that we're remodeling. It's a 5-plex. And we have been learning a lot in the process, because buying in West Central and remodeling there hasn't been easy.
Yeah, that's tough.
So it's cool. Also with I have a really good team like Jonathan Morales with insurance. Cynthia Villanueva with Partners First. We also work a lot with Veronica Stevens with American Family Insurance, and they are people that have been making my life easier, my clients' life easier, and more sustainable. Yeah.
So, what all companies do you have then? So it sounds like you do some rental properties, and then because you said you bought that 5-plex, right?
Yeah.
Are you trying to flip it? Are you trying to buy and hold it? And then what other companies do you have? So you have one where you're buying and holding property. You have one where you're the managing broker. What's everything that you do?
Well, my main business is just the regular real estate, and I also have that one with Moises, and the name of the company is Relax, RLX. We couldn't find another better name, and it's the first property we buy. Well, now we have 2, but that one is going to be a rental, but is the only one. And we bought another property that we're remodeling between Moises and I, but that's gonna be a flip, and it's a really cool house. And the other ones, I start that other company because some of my clients, they cannot get a mortgage loan. It's just they cannot. There's no way to get them a mortgage loan, so I buy the properties and I sell them in land contract. So for everybody to have an opportunity, right?
Yep.
But that's it.
And now we're going to start doing that.
Nice.
Like, you can be the person bringing the buyer every time. Because, that's something that I was talking to Ed. Do you know Ed, by the way? Ed Aravello with AG
Yes.
Rentals? And
Yep.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was telling us that like that's a great strategy.
I haven't met them in person, but I know them. I know who they are, and I have talked to them. We had a deal one time. I refer people to them because.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, I say you would like them.
Yeah.
You would like them a lot. I think that you guys would get along. But yeah, they're really great people. There are the people who manage all of our properties and stuff. We've done a lot of rehabs and stuff, and yeah, they're awesome. I forget where I was going with that, so I'll just switch over to something else. So when you were learning English, when did you learn English?
Okay, my mom is an English teacher in Mexico, and I never wanted to learn. Never. I always said, like, why do I need to learn English, Mom? Like, no, I live in Mexico, you know? I don't need that. Why do you want to teach me English? I don't want to learn. I couldn't. I just couldn't. It was, you know, I was like an A+ student in everything else, but English, it was just a no. My brain just didn't take it. So when I came to the U.S., I could understand here and there, and I could communicate at Walmart probably, but nothing else. So when I started working at the daycare, I decided to start studying English, and I did it here. It was like a full-time 3 months in the school is the language center, I think. I don't remember, but it is in Ivy Tech. It's like an English school. I did my it was before that. I did my 3 months because I was tired of not being able to communicate properly.
Yeah.
So I took that 3 months course, and then just when I graduated from there, my little one started with his diabetes. So it was like perfect timing because I could talk to the doctors. I could, even if it was a whole new vocabulary to learn, at least I could communicate with the doctors. I was ready to do my PhD in education in Texas. I did all the tests. I translated all of my documents from Mexico, everything, and I got accepted in the Texas University in Richardson, Texas. I was going to move there, but now I needed to learn about diabetes, not about education, right?
Wow.
So it was just a learning process again.
Are you letting deals fall through the cracks because you don't have good systems in place?
We've been there before, and honestly, we've tried several different CRMs, and RE Simply has been the absolute best.
RE Simply tracks your KPIs, does automatic follow-ups for you, and even records incoming phone calls.
The system is very easy to use, and honestly, it has more features than we even know what to do with.
If you're looking for a great CRM, try RE Simply today.
Click the link in the description below.
Check it out now.
So how long ago was that?
7 years.
7 years, okay. So this leads into my other question then. So you learned English 7 years ago, and then we talk about trusting people, and you just trust people automatically. What I found is since I know language so well, and I'm like so used to talking to people and like, you know, used to a certain language, obviously English, and I've been around it, I can tell when people are lying to me very easily. But what I've noticed is if I... like, let's say if I'm talking to somebody who maybe doesn't know English as well, I can't tell when they're lying to me or not because I'm like, I don't know if they're lying to me or if they don't know English all the way or like, you know, if they're having a hard time with translating or they're just straight up lying. I can't tell the difference. Did you ever have any sort of those issues or anything like that? Or
So maybe I can trick you.
you speak English well enough, it's going to be difficult to trick me.
Well, as I told you, most of my clients are Hispanic, so
I mean, when you're talking to
it's
people
my natural
who only...
language.
Well, so how about this? So when you were speaking to Americans, did you find it difficult to trust them because there was a language barrier there?
No, not really. No, I don't think so. Well, my husband now is American, so no.
Yep. Did you ever have anybody that did manipulate, lie, or cheat in order to like make more money or anything like that? Like an American?
I had a bad experience at the beginning because as a rookie, I told the other agent, like, hey, this is just my second deal, so you will need to help me out in this one. Oh, big mistake. Because she was treating me like bad and taking advantage of everything. And until I said, like, okay, I'm new, but I'm not dumb. And I'm not alone in this. You know, I have a managing broker, at that time Tony Didier, and
Yep.
he's really cool.
Yeah.
I had Liliana helping me out also. I said like, hey, I'm not by myself.
Right.
And I'm not dumb. So I hope no one treated you the way you're treating me when you started, because you started at some point.
Right.
And I hope never did this to you, because it sucks. It's really bad. It's not fair. But it has been the only time, really.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like it was the same way, though. What I mean is, like, there's a manipulation of language that you can use in order to lie to somebody, and that's what I was wondering, if anybody ever felt like they were, like, manipulating based on the language barrier.
The thing is, I'm not scared to say, I don't understand you. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah.
So when you don't care, it's like, because for me at the beginning, I was ashamed all the time and nervous. And there are people that can't tell you. I was receiving a phone call from another agent and I was shaking. I was like, no, I don't want to take it. I just cannot. I don't want to take it. So I was always texting like, oh, sorry, I cannot take your phone call right now. Can you text me, please? Because in text it's easier.
Yeah. Oh, right. Translated.
Yes,
That's
to
what she
translate
said to me,
it.
but she was playing FIFA with her boys, so.
Actually, yes, you're right. Well, but at the beginning it was scary. But then I said like, hey, why? This is your second language.
Yeah.
So if someone doesn't like the way you speak, your accent, or if you're asking like, can you repeat that for me 20 times? Is their problem.
Yep.
So until I don't have things clear, I never sign a document. I never give a response, nothing. I always ask.
Good. Yeah, I've noticed that whenever you go into other countries, a lot of people like whenever you have not traveled very much. Like I remember my dad used to say this all the time. I don't know if your family was like it, but they're like, "Oh, if you're in America, you should speak English." And then like it's so funny that whenever you travel, you hope that people are not like that. Because I'm like, I've noticed when I go to Mexico, everybody's real nice if you don't know Spanish. When you go over to Europe and you don't know like French, or if you don't know where was I at? I was in Rome, so Italian. Yeah, they literally got mad at me for like not speaking Italian. They're like,
No,
can you
they
speak
get
it?
mad at you because you speak English. That's the difference. If you go there and speak Spanish, it doesn't matter. They're really cool to you.
Really?
But they don't like, because one time, actually, in Paris, I tried to speak English in my really bad English at that time to the cab driver, and he got so mad. It's like, and I said something in Spanish. He's like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Mexico. Well, in his language. I said, Mexico? Mexico? Here? Mexico? Like, oh, cool, Mexico. So they don't like English.
Yes, and that's what I've noticed too. Actually, Ruby was with us. I don't know if you know Ruby
Yes.
Jordan's. Yeah, so she was with us. Same thing happened with us, a cab driver. And then when I was speaking, he did not seem very happy. But I had Ruby and her sister. They started speaking Spanish to him. They like had a great relationship. I could tell that he was upset. But yeah, I think that when you're in America and you're used to only, being around people who speak English, you get used to like, oh, everybody else should speak the same language. And then whenever you go travel, then you're hoping for grace. So it's just interesting. I think that the more you travel, the more you realize like the world is not just America. And
My brother-in-law, he's really cool. And he came one time and started talking to people in Spanish. Like if you could understand him. It's like, you realize they don't understand you, right? He's like, well, if I need to understand them when they are in Mexico, at least they can try. And he kept speaking Spanish like nothing. And they were like, okay, take your phone, take the translator, do something about it. Because if you go to Mexico, you expect me to understand you. So, and he speaks really good English. He was just messing around.
that's funny.
Yeah.
I like to just communicate, just actually talk to people if I can. I will try to speak Spanish if I can, but
Hey, you should try.
poquito.
You see?
Estoy aprendiendo rápido.
Nice. You're doing good.
Cecilia, what is your biggest struggle right now?
My biggest struggle. What can be a big struggle right now? Being a mom of a teenager. That is a big struggle.
What's the struggles of it?
Trying to educate a boy with a culture that is not his because he has been growing in another country with another culture, that is a struggle. because I want to raise him the way I was raised, but he's been living in a different world. And all of his friends has different mindsets, and their families have different way to educate them. So that's a struggle, I guess.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, like, what are the values that you're trying to instill in him that you were brought up, and then what are the values that you feel that he's gotten from his people, and what are you trying to intertwine?
I think if he can mix them in a good way and take the best of both worlds, he's going to be really successful and a really good person.
What are the best of both worlds?
As I always tell him, like, my responsibility is not towards him, it's towards God. And if God sent him to me, it was to make the best of him, for him to be the best he can be for himself and for others. So that's what I'm trying to do. But it's hard with a teenager. We were teenagers at some point, and they're not mature enough to understand that part. So it's like, hey, buddy, I'm not your best friend. I'm your mom. And I think that's something I struggle with, because right now in our generation, we're trying to be our kids' best friends. And I think that's wrong. Really believe that's a mistake, because there should be like a respect line in between that we are crossing a lot, to be able to communicate better with them, to be able to be closer to them. So I think that's the hard part, to try to make them understand that you will be always there for them, but without being their best buddies. I think the best about your question, family is a big thing for us in Mexico, in most of the Hispanic countries. And I think that's something he should keep. He should care about. He should care about his siblings. He should care about his family and keep us together. And from here, I think you're trying always to be better, to be more, to be best. You have more, how do you say it? I cannot find the right word.
I'd say as a culture, the United States is a lot more individualistic, where it's about a person's individual success. And so we focus on that person's responsibility to be great.
Yep.
Rather than
they have
the
more
family.
Expectations in one person. And we are more like a group. So if he can manage to take the best of both sides, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that. So, yeah, I definitely think that Americans are more individualistic, but they also like care more about their own happiness, you know. So like, let's say a scenario, which I know some people in a scenario, like let's just say that, you know, their family, one person's on drugs and like they're just like not wanting to better their lives at all, and they're kind of like every time you're around them, all they want to do is like, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard the term crabs in a bucket, but if you have a bunch of crabs in a bucket, basically if one starts to go up, the other ones, all of them will pull them down. And,
Here?
no, I'm just talking in general.
Crabs.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
So that as the crabs
Yes.
crawl up the bucket, if one starts to do well, the other crabs will grab it and pull it down.
Pull it down, yeah.
And so Dakota's saying the allegory is resembling something that actually happens sometimes, where you have family members who are dragging the rest of the family down because they want to do drugs.
Yeah.
And so do you cut them off and say, you're not my family, you're doing drugs, I'm going to focus on my own happiness because I can't bring you up?
Yeah. No. And I think you need to be able to help at least one, and that one is going to help another one.
Yep.
And that way you're going to
Let's change
move
it then.
them all forward.
I'll speak from personal experience. Let's say that your entire family is the one that's on drugs, is the one that's selling meth, is the one that's making meth. That's your entire family. And then I'm in foster care, and now I'm left to fend for myself. Am I supposed to go back to them and then be like, hey guys, I'm back here, I'm just going to stay with you guys? Or do I continue to elevate, be the best that I can be, and then teach them as much as I can along the way? You know what I mean?
one.
Do what?
Pick one.
Pick one. What do you mean?
Pick one of them. Because you by yourself, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, no, an entire family, you cannot. But you can help one. And if you can help that one, between both of you, can help another one. And that's going to be easier. It's going to take some time, but maybe it sounds like a dream, but maybe you can. At least you can try.
She's going to love Cy.
Yeah, I gotta show
You're gonna love it.
Cecilia, I gotta show her the spiral dynamics hierarchy of values, because what you're talking about is people who are in red, but you're kind of like, orange-blue. So I'll show you this diagram later that basically explains, like, when people are very egocentric, it's hard to pull them into the we, into the collective, into the purposeful family unit, because they're so interested in looking good and doing what they want to do and being right.
Yeah.
And so they're not open to change. And as soon as you can, like, a lot of times what causes 18 to 25-year-old men who are destructive to get out of that is something like the military, or something like college, or something like, for Dakota, it was religion. Like, he needed to convince his woman to be Christian when she was a Jehovah's Witness. And so he had to get into the church and into the truth, right? Like, for you, that was kind of like a pull or like a call to action.
Oh, yeah, it was more of an education. That was when I was like, all right, well, we were talking about, different religious stuff, and then it got to the point where I'm like, well, we don't believe the same thing. And so then I had to go deeper into why I believe what I believe, instead of just like, oh, yeah, I believe it because this is what everybody believes. I had to be like, well, do I even believe this? Why do I believe this? And I started asking harder questions.
To me, that was when I noticed the biggest shift in you from what I would call red values to blue values, which was when you went from it's all about me to it's all about the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that sometimes, like, traditions or culture or certain things, like, always about the family can in some instances obviously go down the wrong path, which is why I like what you said, combining the best of both and figure out what does that actually look like, and how can you guys keep that, because obviously family is important. But yeah.
Look, my husband, he has 2 siblings. Okay? And when I met him, it's like, where's your family? You're like, I want to meet your family. Oh, no, I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time. It's like, but you have siblings. Oh, yes, I have 2. Where are they? Like, oh, I think they live in town. Like, okay. Okay, so I was the one taking action. And so, like, okay, we're going to have dinner with your siblings. It's like, oh, what? I haven't seen them in 11 years. So, like, yes, and we're going to have dinner tonight. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
Okay. And they're super cool. They're super cool. And they're not going to be, like, super close because they haven't been, never,
right, sure.
But at least they know what is going on in their lives. I talk a lot to his sister. She's really cool. And because for me it's important, you have a family. You cannot be the closest person to your family, but if something happened to them, you need to be there for them. It's just not an option. It's just family.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. Your values, I can tell, I can definitely tell that, like, that was ingrained in you when you were younger, because, like, that's obviously very high importance, because for me, it's really not the most important thing. So when you say, like, I obviously do care about my family and I do want to be there for them, and but, like, at the same time, if they do not want to help themselves, I will do whatever I can, but I'm not going to force anything on them. And I will obviously be there when they ask, but at the same time, for me, it's still like, it's just like, I think about it like this. If you're going to go date somebody, right? And then let's say that you're evaluating them and their family's the worst. Guess what? They didn't pick their family. Their family, it just is what it is. Who did they pick, though? They picked their friends and the people that they do surround themselves with, and the people who, are...
But now for them, that is family.
Exactly. Yes. Now for them, that is family. And that's the way I feel. Is like, man, the people that I surround myself with and the people that I choose to be around, that says more about me than what my family says about me, because I didn't get to pick their decisions. I didn't get to pick who my family was. I do pick who I surround myself with. And I do know that if you surround yourself with those people who are on drugs, who are doing all those things, like I agree that, like, you know, we should be around them to help them, but I can only limit my amount of time with them because, like you said, I have to fill my own cup in order to help other people. If I deplete myself, what I've noticed is if I'm around those other people and I deplete myself, I'm no longer valuable to anybody. I can't even help anybody because now I'm in the same trap as everybody else. And if I get around people for too long, then you kind of do that, which is hard for people. So sometimes I believe, this is my belief, I think you sometimes have to let go of your family in order for them to hopefully come back.
The thing is, if you all grow up with the same values, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's not going to be you against the whole thing. It's going to be you and probably an aunt and probably someone else that is also family around that circle that is in struggle, is struggling at that point, helping out.
Yeah.
So it's cultural.
Yep.
Completely.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said too about the struggle, because I was just thinking back on my recollection of the Arevalos. They mostly talked about New York. They talked about like Queens, New York, like that area just being so rough, and they can like jokingly say like, "Hey, what about New York?" to each other, and what they mean is, remember when we were in that environment and things were completely different and we moved to here and now things are completely different again, and like how thankful we are for it because we all stayed together and made the move together. And so I think there's something to be said too about struggling together, like suffering together.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why Dakota and I are so close, and also why, you know, like my friend Jimmy LaRue and we struggled a lot together in wrestling in high school together. Like we had to lose a bunch of weight when we didn't have any weight to lose. And so we got to suffer together too. So you really get to get closer with people when you're going through hard things. And it seems as though now younger generations coming up, they don't have as much suffering readily available to them. They have to create it if they want it. They have to create it. And so, you know, being blessed is also sort of a curse, because it's not just being blessed, it's like being spoiled to the point where you don't have to develop any character because you don't have to suffer. Like how important it is to struggle together in order to grow with one another.
I think that is also a big part of why I am doing what I am doing, because I needed to struggle a lot to be where I am. It's not easy. It hasn't been easy, but just keep trusting and doing the best you can and never giving up. And there's no secrets. It's just easy to find a way. What it is not easy is to keep doing it every single day. That is the not easy part.
Yep. Yeah, I heard our coach, Kelly, say smart, humble, and hardworking. That's what he looks for in people. And yeah, I think that you got all that. Smart, humble, and hardworking. You got those three things, you'll be good. So
Thank you.
That's why you're doing well.
Thank you.
The last question that we usually ask on the podcast is one about your message to the world. So you fast forward until you're 100 years old.
100?
And you're on.
I hope I can be 100
You're
years
gonna
old
make it.
someday.
We already decided. We projected that out into the future.
Okay.
But you're gonna die at 100, so you're not gonna make it any further.
Okay, not further. Okay.
You're 100 and a half, and you're on your deathbed, and you're dying. But you have one final message to the world, one last thing that you can say. It could be a paragraph. It could be a sentence. It could be an entire lesson. This is Cecilia's message that she feels that the world needs to hear, and it resembles you. This is Cecilia's message. It's very much what Cecilia would say. And so you get one last message to the world that you think the world needs to hear. It's your legacy, how people will remember you. What is your final message?
Oh my goodness. It's a short time to think. Oh,
Short time to think about my whole life.
You're gonna die.
okay, yes, I'm gonna die.
You got 60 years to figure out this message.
Yes, okay, I think so, right? Okay, now, do the best you can while you can, but never ever stop dancing, singing, and having fun, because we are sure that we have this life, and we hope we can have a better one after this one, right? But I think that's it. Just enjoy the way and do your best.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love it. Yeah, thanks again for coming on, and hopefully everybody got some value. I'm sure that they did, and thanks for everything you do in the community. I know that you really are like one of the biggest real estate agents in the Hispanic community for real. Like anybody that thinks about it, I'm like, I think you're the first person that comes to everybody's mind. So we've heard your name come up a lot. So
Oh, thank you. Thank
yeah, thanks for everything that you do in Fort Wayne.
How can our listeners get a hold of you if they want to reach out?
Just my telephone number is 260-210-2460, and text. Always text is so much easier, because if I'm busy, I'm gonna return that text or a phone call anytime. But if they call me, I can miss that.
Yep, I like it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.